The cats are fed. And it's time for another edition of Tryhard Gaming with me, Rollcase TV. I do the best I can with what I've got, which is not a lot of talent, but a whole lot of volumes to adjust. Still getting settled in, had some technical issues to start off with, had to reboot my Xbox a couple times because Twitch wouldn't load. Minecraft loaded fine, which you might find kind of amazing, to be honest. It is the first week of a new release, a new major release. And what happens during the first week of a new major release of Minecraft? Half of the world can't play it because of all the terrible things, all the terrible bugs. Well, okay, maybe not half the world. A good percentage, a higher percentage than you might think, can't play the game or can't play their old worlds or can't create new worlds or something. Can't open chests, can't open, get terrible lag, can't go into their worlds. In other words, it's every day at the office for those at Mojang when there's a new release. Now, I do not want to be unfair to them. More people play Minecraft than any other game in history. It's a big game. It's a big code base. It's been developed over the past 12 years or something like that, the Java version anyway. I'm not talking about the Java version, I'm talking about the Bedrock version, affectionately known as the Bugrock version, but there are reasons for that, which I might get into. But here we are, and I'm in front of a big sign that says Adventures in Tryhardia, but this is not. Wait a minute, this is not my Adventures in Tryhardia world. It doesn't even look like the logo on my thumbnails that I put on YouTube. It is not. This is, in fact, I did not load this game in. I should have loaded the world in advance to doing this intro. Yeah, the new version does have a little bit of lag issues. Let me see what, step behind the curtain here. I want to see what my render distance is set to. I usually stream at 14. I might have it up to 18. Or it might actually be lower. I don't know. Let's see. And that's because it's at 18. Okay, let me kick this down to 14 where I usually have it for streaming. I play it higher, but streaming does put a little more work on the old CPU. And I am running this on an Xbox One. As soon as Xbox Series X's become available in my neck of the woods, I will upgrade to that. Well, maybe not as soon as, but soon thereafter. So what is this? This is actually my creative test world. Well, one of. This is my second creative test world. It was created, I think, at 1.15, maybe? I have an earlier one that was created maybe 1.11, something like that. But, yeah, there is not much here compared to my older one. But there are a couple things here I want to show you. Not the least of which is this beautiful sign I ended up not using. See how beautiful and gorgeous I made the scenery here and everything? Nope, decided not to use this thumbnail because I didn't think it was appropriate, since this is not an actual world. This is just a creative world. But I don't know. I kind of like this thumbnail. Maybe I'll use it for this. Well, I won't use it for this one. I got another thumbnail in mind for this one because I'm not actually doing Adventures in Tryhardia. I don't know why I'm walking down here when I could fly. But I figured we'd start off. I'd give you a little bit of a tour of. I am in creative mode, right? Yes, I'm in creative mode. I could have known that by the lack of things above my toolbar. Anyway. So, this is the kind of thing I've been working on after 1.18.0 released. I refuse to even open my current Let's Play world because Because I know better. Because I know that Minecraft, as I said, is the largest game in the world that's ever been. More people have played or at least purchased Minecraft than have played. Tetris was the second most, and that held the lead for a long time, but Minecraft now has it. And so it's a big deal when a major release comes out, and lots of people are anticipating it. And Mojang, I hate pronouncing them Mojang because I know it's really not supposed to be pronounced Mojang, but that's the American version, or the anglicized version. It's something closer to Mojang, which I can't really pronounce properly anyway. So Mojang is what they call themselves now that Microsoft owns them, so I'll just go ahead and call them that. Anyway, it is a big, undertaking to create a new version, and no matter how much they publish beta versions and try to get people to test it, most people, it's kind of a sad thing, I guess. Most people, I have let me mention where I'm coming from. I am a software developer. That's what I did with my career, and various facets of it, including quality assurance, software development itself, project management, product management, that sort of thing. So I understand the dynamics of software development. I've never developed a game, but I understand the dynamics enough to know that when you give out a beta release to people, 99% of the people who get the beta release are not there to actually do beta testing for you. They're there to just, oh yeah, I also was a beta tester for games. They're there because they want an early release of the game. They just want to play around with it, and they don't intend on giving you any feedback whatsoever. They'll just complain to themselves and their friends about how buggy the beta is. Well, yeah, it's going to be buggy. That's why they have a beta program, to get people to give them feedback on what the bugs is. And if people don't give them feedback on the bugs, they can't find them all. And so there's going to be bugs. So one of the things I want to start off this episode, this stream, is by appealing to you, all of you, please, 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 if you are having any issues in 1.18, whether it's on the Bedrock version that I play on or on the Java version. By the way, the Bedrock version is the version, if you're not familiar, it's the version that most people play. Not most streamers play, but it's the version that most people play. It's the version when you start the game up, it just says Minecraft on the top. The other version that's still in development is the Java version, and that says Minecraft underneath it, Java Edition. If it says Java Edition on your title screen, that means you're playing the Java Edition, which is the older version developed in the Java programming language. The version that was developed more recently they colloquially refer to it as the Bedrock version, although it's just known as Minecraft on the title screen. The reason for Bedrock isn't really because it has anything to do with the kind of block in Minecraft that's called Bedrock. It was the foundational engine. It's the name of the engine that they created in order to combine all the various C++ developed versions. C++ being another programming language. Java is a programming language. C++ is a programming language. C++ is a much older programming language. It's a very detailed programming language that is much harder to program in, but it can create much more efficient code, which is why on the Bedrock version you can get super high render distances. I was saying, oh, my render distance is like 18. I'm going to turn it down to 14, and I'm playing on a console that's now one generation behind. But on PCs, people play the Bedrock edition on like Windows 10. They play it with 32 or more chunks of render distance, which would be unheard of on the Java version, because that version is not efficient enough. Because it's in part because it's programmed in Java, in part because it's an older version, and so it was not programmed with all the efficiencies that the newer Bedrock version were programmed in. But anyway, Bedrock was the name of the engine they used. Bedrock version was originally started as a way to create a smaller pocket version of the game that did not have all the features, was not going to have all the features for a long time. Then they decided to, hey, let's use this engine to develop the Windows 10 version. So we have a PC version on a modern operating system. And in that sense, that's when they started to compete with the Java version. And they ended up bringing all the features up to date. And what they called the Better Together update then, they took the version that was on the Pocket version. They took which also it became the code base for the Windows 10 version. And then they redeveloped all the console versions to also be included. And it took a while to get people like Sony to cooperate, but eventually all the console versions were now use this engine, and the older console versions were deprecated. So if you are playing a version of Minecraft that says Minecraft, Xbox 360 version or Xbox One version or PS4 version or PlayStation 4 version, whatever it says, those are not currently being developed. And I've played the Xbox One edition, and I loved it. That was developed by a different company, though. That was developed by 4J Studios. And, with a different design philosophy and a smaller company, and it was a smaller release and all that stuff. So some of the people that have played the current Bedrock version on consoles missed the old console versions because they seemed to be higher quality and were tighter and had controllers support in mind right from the start. When the Better Together version first came out, which I don't remember what number that was, 10 maybe or something, they did not have really good support for things like controllers, which people, rightly said, hey, why don't you do it more like this, the way 4G Studios did it? And they listened, to their credit, and now controller support is just as good, both for the consoles and the PC. Yes, people do play PC version with controllers. I know an old console version player, huge YouTuber, IBX Toycat. He played the old 360 console version, and now he plays then he played the Xbox One version, and now switched to the Bedrock version. He plays it mostly still on Xbox One, although he also plays an awful lot on PC, and because he's used to the controller, he plays on PC with controller. So he almost never plays any Java Edition version, but he does talk about it some. So IBX Toycat, very entertaining streamer. Another person I'm going to talk about a lot today probably is Silent Whisperer, spelled just the way you would guess. Silent is a member of the Truly Bedrock team. Lots of people that are on the Truly Bedrock, SMP, Survival Multiplayer server. I know personally a couple of those people, and I know Silent a little bit. And he does a great job of keeping track of the bugs in the Bedrock version, as well as has tremendous tutorials for how to do nifty redstone-y things. And that's why I'm in this world. I'm going to talk about some of the redstone things. But he is the authority, I think, or at least one of the most well-known authorities on how to do redstone-y gadgets in Minecraft Bedrock, as well as keeps very close eye on the bug list for Bedrock, and keeps pressure on people to to get that going. So back to my appeal to you: if you are playing either version, I suppose, but I'm more concerned with the Bedrock version of Let's Play. If you're playing 1.18, you have any problems with it, please go to bugs.mojang.com. That's bugs.mojang.com. And go there and search for your issue. Always start off searching. Use the keywords that express your issue. And look through the list, see if somebody's already reported it. Because if you report one that's already been reported, it just wastes their time, and it takes longer for the for the thing to get fixed. Because all the support people are tied up trying to figure out, wait a minute, is this a duplicate of something else? And if it is, then they got to close one, and they got to add a description to the other one to say this is replicated by this one, so et cetera, et cetera. So please do your part, search. I know that that adds work, but A little more collective work will make things work, you know. Things will get fixed smoother. And go there, look to see if your bug has been entered. And if it has, then upvote it, add any information you can. If it has not been listed, you're pretty sure you've exhausted everything and your bug is not listed, then please feel free to create a new bug report and give as much information as you can, because that's what testing is supposed to do. But to be honest, modern software houses do not have the resources to test every possible thing, especially on a game as huge as Minecraft. So, if the beta process does not get enough attention from the people that are using it, and they now release it, and some platforms won't let them release beta versions. So I'm looking at you, iOS and Sony. Then it's up to the people that first get the major release to report the bugs, and they'll see if they can fix them. So I know they're hard at work right now, trying to find all the bugs, trying to come up with a patch release. Based on the nature of the bugs, I have a feeling there's going to be at least 2 patch releases before the version is stable enough that I'm willing to go back into my Adventures of Tryhardia Let's Play, because I don't want anything to crash. And even though I do have backups, I really don't want to make progress for 2 months and have all that progress lost because I have to roll back to an earlier version because something's completely munged. So that's why I'm not doing Adventures in Tryhardia, but I am here. I'm going to find something to do in Minecraft. I had a couple ideas for what to do today. One of the things I want to do today is show off, if I can remember where it is. There it is. It's far away because I originally made it and then made a copy of it and put it over there. If you've been watching my Adventures in Tryhardia Let's Play, you know that I have I found a spider spawner just a couple, like 2 episodes before the end of the Let's Play. 1 episode maybe. Before the hiatus. So I've been working on a spider spawner, and I'm going to go through the construction of it. I think I have it pretty solid. I'll make a little few tweaks, of course, once I actually implement it. But this mausoleum here is, keep in mind, the spider spawner is far underground, and I built this up at the surface, so I can reach it easier. And if anybody has any questions about what some of the other stuff is, maybe I'll go over a couple of these other things. I'll jump into another world and stuff, too. But this is it. This will all be underground, of course. This up here, if you're not familiar, is Tinted Glass. It came out in the 1.17 release. It's made with glass and amethyst crystals. I had not played the game for 2 years before this, before 1.17 came out, just before I started my replay. So I do not know a lot of the stuff. I used to have a lot of knowledge about the game and a lot of knowledge about the redstone and stuff. I'm catching back up with all that knowledge, but there, if you look in there, you will see there is I should have brought a spyglass with me. I could have zoomed in and pointed much easier. There's a spider spawner there. These are lights. This is not what the eventual version is going to look like, of course. This is here so that I can look in and see what's going on, but still block the lights. If you don't know, tinted glass is, you can see through it, but light cannot get through it, which a physicist would argue with that actually being able to happen, but it's a good addition to the game. So in the real version, this is going to be my spider spawner. It's all going to be underground. You won't see through it, and there won't be any light leaking through. But right now, the light that's in here is not from the skylight. It's from the lights that are on in here. In fact, I can show that off if I make sure all the doors are closed. I am in creative mode, but I don't want anything wandering in here. Turn it to midnight. I have some obvious things that you do in a test world. I don't have the daylight cycle running, for example. So here's what, this is the source of the lights, are the lights that were on top there. You saw redstone lamps. If I come out here, I'll probably run into a creeper or something, but I'm in creative mode, so he won't bother me. He'll ignore me. So anyway, those are the lights that are lighting the place up. And that's important when you have a spawner that you're trying to use for XP or whatever. You need to have lights you can switch on and off, so I can switch the lights. And notice it is fairly dark in here. You want to keep it as dark as you can, even out here, because you don't want to interfere with the mobs that spawn, because they will not be able to spawn. In fact, one of the things that they're changing in 1.18 is now mobs will not be able to spawn. It used to be they could spawn on light level 7 or below. If you don't know, a torch lets off light level 14 in the block that it's actually in. And then for every block distant from it, it reduces by 1. And it uses what's called a Taxicab Distance. So this block is 14, this block is 13, this block is 12, but this block diagonally is not also 12, it's 11, because here to here to here. They only count, they measure it along the long sides, called the orthogonal direction. That's referred to as taxicab distance, because think about a taxicab driving in a grid city like New York City. Taxicab can't just drive through the buildings to get here. He has to go here and here. So that's 2 blocks away, and like city blocks, and so that's the distance they use, regular blocks. So it's 14 here, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, and so this would be the first place near that torch where a mob could spawn. But now in 18, it's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It would only be able to spawn from that light over here, but notice there's more light over there. You may wonder, well, why is there light over there? I don't see any torches. Well, that's because there are torches. They're just torches out here. But wait a minute. You might say, well, okay, that door is closed. Light's not supposed to go through a solid door. Well, in Minecraft it is. Doors do not block light. Partial blocks do not block light, which is important to understand in the design of this spawner as well. Let me change the time back to noon, because that's not important for the test here. So, yeah, these are things that a lot of people that watch this are going to know, but it's my stream. I'll explain what I want. But, again, my Let's Play is on hiatus until at least 1, maybe 2 patch releases come out. I know there are a lot of critical issues. There may be a hotfix release very soon that just fixes the absolute most critical releases, like people not being able to get into their worlds. And then I expect there's going to be a second patch release before the game is actually worth risking a world you care about on upgrading to. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to not play on my Let's Play world, because I do care about it. So here is how it works. There's the spawner. And I guess I'll give a tour in here a little bit on just the construction. First of all, we have lights that turn off the spawner because mobs can't spawn in the light. There is, remember, this is a spider spawner. This design will not work for other types of mobs. And this is probably not the best design. I have, like I said, not kept up on the best designs. What I like to do is understand the fundamentals and then design something completely on my own based on those fundamentals. So it may not be the most efficient, but this is something that I've designed that seems to be, it works for me. And it is diamond shape rather than square. In Java, the spawn area is square around the spawner. In Bedrock, because they use a different sort of way of measuring. They measure, I don't know what that would be called, max coordinate, min coordinate, max coordinate. Anyway, but this is, again, taxicab distance. In Bedrock, they measure from spawners. There's all kinds of things that measure differently. There's circular shapes, so cylindrical measurements. There's spherical measurements. There's square measurements, which is based on the minimum coordinate or the maximum coordinate from the thing. So if it's like 5 blocks that way and 5 blocks that way, it's only considered 5 blocks away. Whereas in a taxicab distance, 5 blocks that way plus 5 blocks that way would be considered 10 blocks away. You add the coordinates, where to make a square, you just take the maximum coordinate or minimum coordinate. I keep getting that all mixed up. Maximum, minimum coordinate, I guess it is. Yes, minimum coordinate. So anyway, but for spawners, the measurement that's used on Bedrock is taxicab distance. So this distance away is the same as like this distance away. So that's why it's in a diamond shape rather than a square. because that's where mobs can spawn. Now, actually, this is dug out a little bit farther than the spawning range of spiders, because spiders, when they spawn, they like to climb on the walls. And so you make it a little bit larger so that they hit the water and get pushed away from the back walls. And then they come towards the front walls. And this is Magma Blocks. And the reason the Magma Blocks are here is because spiders cannot climb on Magma Blocks. That's something that was, I think, intended for a while, but was not working right, and is now working properly, so that the spiders will be forced down here by the water before they can get a chance to climb on these walls. And then once they get down here, it'll be easier for them to jump on the walls, and they'll keep trying to jump on the walls, but the Magma Blocks prevent that. Now, ideally, if I didn't care about resources, this is something I intend to build in my Let's Play world. If I had unlimited magma resources, I would like build this wall up several layers high, not like 1 or 2 layers high. Excuse me a second, a little hydration break. But so this is like the minimum that's necessary. In fact, they can jump up here, and they will sometimes jump up here, but random motion, they'll drop down. But by the time they get down here, it's 2 blocks high, and they really have no way of getting up above that. The water has to bounce them. See, here, the water can bounce them up high enough that they can get a foothold. But down here, the water won't be able to bounce them high enough that they'll be able to get a foothold because of this lip here. So, if you're watching on Twitch after the fact, you can pause the video. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm not going to do a whole tutorial on this, but basically, to show you the measurement, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's as far as they'll actually be able to spawn. This is dug out an extra 6 spaces away, and then it's even more extra space around the edges because it's corners, and they can grab onto the corners. So yeah, that's how it's designed, to be a little bit wider of a space than is necessary. But the spiders spawn down, and then they get caught in the water. And this line here is where the water stops. To tell you how I'm doing the water, you might be able to guess this, but right there, if you look very closely, let's see if I can get a closer look, you will see that that's a mossy block. And then that's a mossy block, and that's a mossy block, and all those are mossy blocks. Those are actually, I may use them mossy blocks to be able to tell what blocks I waterlogged. Those are actually slabs, mossy slabs, top slabs. And so then I could waterlog them, and the nice thing about using the slabs, you could use stairs too, is the water will leak out, be able to leak out from them, but they'll still, appear solid, and spiders won't be able to get caught inside them like a full block. They could potentially get stuck inside of it, that kind of thing. So, or 1 block high for a zombie spawner, 1 block high baby zombies, wouldn't be able to get stuck in there, etc. Now, the thing about partial blocks is you can waterlog them, but that also means that light can leak through them, as I explained with the doors. So what you have to do is, on the outside of this, you have to block these all off. And you actually have to block them off, not just on the orthogonal sides, but it seems like light can still leak in. I don't know if this is a bug, but light can leak in like on the corners, on the edges. So you'll see I have this really well blocked off here. And when I get into the redstone, I'll show you how I try to block that light off too. But the only way to really test that is to turn the lights off and see, oh, do I see a glow here? Do I see a glow here? Oh, I must need 1 more block surrounding that, that slab to keep the light from outside to show that sort of thing. Anyway, so yeah, you see how far away it is, and then you see how far the water goes, and then you dig out you replicate the same direction. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish. I don't know where eventually the water stops, but this matches the water line. I dug down the last place that would have flowing water. It's supposed to be 8, so I must count that as 1. Yeah, I must count that as 1. Anyway. So that way you can extend. Oh, it may also be because this block is farther away, sort of. I don't know. But So yeah, water along that wall, and then every other block here, because you don't want to create a water source. If I had, for example, that waterlogged and that waterlogged, I would get a water source here, and you don't want to do that. So every other one. And that's sufficient to get everything flowing. And if you want to test it, what you do is, do I have duplicates of anything in my inventory? Sure, I have an extra apple. I'll use a golden apple because they're not precious. What you do is you just walk around, you toss one and see, oh, is that able to escape? Does it get into a little eddy somewhere? And if it does, then you gotta, rearrange things. But in this case, it did not. It flowed all the way through here. So that means everything is flowing. Test every corner. So, yeah, that's how that is. And I'll show you then just if I can do this without accidentally picking up that thing, which I will show later. So when I turn the light off, I'm in creative mode, so I can leave this flap open. Turn the light off, you'll see they'll start spawning because it is actually dark in there, even though it looks light in the back. I don't know why it looks light in the back. I think we might have a light leak there. Either that or I've run into this bug where it thinks that it's light, even though it's not light. Yeah, see, it thinks that it's light here, but it should not be light here. So, I don't know. Will this fix it? Maybe that will fix it. That should be okay with the redstone. No, I have no idea. Sometimes logging off and back in, the light doesn't leak through anymore. But I think that's effectively, yeah, there's spider spawned right there. It looks like it would be too light for it to spawn, but it spawned right there. So, I think it's fine. Anyway, sometimes, like I said, the light doesn't update properly, and maybe it'll work if I turn it to midnight and then turn it back. Let's see. I'm curious now. Midnight? Yeah, see? Now that can't be light leaking from I'll even break these torches. And, no, it's still just as light. Yeah, that's a bug. It's not really light there. The light does not exist. Ignore the light. There is no light. What makes you think there's a light here? There is no light here. Anyway, yeah, I've had this before where it thinks it's light there for some reason, that the lighting does not update, but it's only a visual glitch. They actually can spawn there. The game knows that there's no light there. Anyway, let's get back in here. And so yeah, ignore that. That's not really there. Let me switch this back to day. And I do have, what I will do is when I go down to look at the redstone, I know sometimes it's hard to see on video. I want you to see what's dark and what's light right now, but when I actually go down places where it's really going to be dark, I will turn on night vision. So you'll be able to see. So anyway, yeah, this is what happens. The spiders spawn, they come down here. And if you want, you can take, you can just stand here and whack them. You have to get kind of close, but eventually they'll get over here. And the reason there's magma blocks on the ground is because if you get spider jockeys, the skeletons may get in a fight with some of the other spiders, or sometimes they get in a fight with their own spiders, and then they'll fall off their spider, and they'll just stand there, and you need a way of killing them, because they might get through the killer zone here, which is what I'm going to explain next. You see these I have a trident in my hand. Let me turn this on so I can show it better. Get these guys out of the way. See, one thing about spiders is they really fight the current. They really try to fight the current, which is one thing that makes spider spawners difficult to design, because they really can fight the current better than other mobs. So anyway, you see there's a trident there, and if you look closely, is that a piece of brown carpet? Why, yes, it is a piece of brown carpet. And what these are called Trident Killers. And there's an interesting thing about the Bedrock version, which is not in the Java version, and this is completely by design. You can move just about any block with a piston. Those are pistons behind there. Yeah, see, those are sticky pistons there. So the carpet is attached to the sticky piston. And in the Java version, you can't push the carpet with a sticky piston. I think it just breaks off or something. But in the Bedrock version, you can push the piston, and the carpet will push out with it. And if it's a sticky piston, when the piston retracts, the carpet will go back. That is by design. What I'm not sure is by design is the way tridents work. When you throw a trident, as you know, when the trident is moving, it will attack a mob and kill a mob. But when the trident is just sitting in the wall, it won't do anything. It doesn't damage a mob if it's just sitting there. A mob can walk over a trident on the ground, it won't hurt him. But how that is coded is, if you throw a trident, if it's in motion, it can damage an enemy. It could, well, any kind of mob. It can damage your friend too. It'll damage anything it's allowed to damage while it's in motion. Now you may see where this is going. In motion doesn't necessarily mean in motion until it hits a block. And this may be the coding bug that became a feature. If I can get this to stick in a block and then still move that block around in such a way that the trident is still exposed, it might still be able to hurt somebody. And that is indeed what happens. So this is the auto killer. It's a trident killer. And what it does is it moves these tridents back and forth. And if you stick them in there right, they'll move back and forth. And it can be a little tricky. And then when you turn on the thing, you'll see, oh, look at this. These spiders are going to get killed. But look, there's an experience orb. And it doesn't matter. I'm in creative. I would still get experience. Just wouldn't. You know, I'm in creative. I don't care about the experience. But yes, the tridents will damage the mobs, and not only will the trident damage the mobs, but whoever threw the trident will get credit for killing the mobs. So, for example, even if I hold up a looting sword, it works just like if I throw a trident at with somebody and quickly switch to the sword, if they die by my hand, not environmental damage. Like if you set the ground on fire and then they catch on fire, you don't get credit for the kill. But if you shoot a trident from a long distance away or a bow and arrow from a long distance away and then quickly switch to a looting sword, the looting enchantment will take effect. So with an auto killer, a trident killer, you can actually kill the mobs with your trident. And because I threw that trident and it is now moving, if that moving trident hits a mob, it will kill them and I will get credit for it. And since I'm the one that threw it, I'll get credit, I'll get the experience, and since I'm holding a looting item, I'll actually get more drops that way. So that's how that works. And this is a little annoying, so let me turn that off. So that's how the Trident Killer works. Actually, maybe I should turn this off first, and then get rid of those last few. There we go. So yes, I get the experience. And now this is designed so that you don't get the experience right away. You have to like step up to it. And that is by design. Oh, actually. Step up to it. And that is by design so that you can stand back here if you want, let the experience collect. Do other things. You can go off as long as you stay within the distance it takes for the spawner. The spawner distance is infinite. But you can do things over here. You can do enchanting with the experience, or use the anvil or whatever, do something else out here, and ideally this area would not be wasted. There'd be something here useful you can do. You could still keep this running, it would build up the experience, and then if you want to repair something with mending, you can then switch to it, walk back over here and collect the experience for that. So you don't lose the mending effect if you're doing something else with a different tool, for example. So that is by design. And that happens by having this raised slightly and having a stair here. The experience will get caught, but then if you get close enough, it is able to get over the stair and get to you. Wait a minute. That guy must have gotten on a wall. They will eventually fall down. But yeah, that's one of those things I said that ideally I would have the magma blocks up higher so they couldn't do that. Because they will fight against the water, and if big thing gets successful in fighting against the water, I was kind of close. So anyway, that's how that works. And, the third switch here is for this AFK rail. If you are playing on a multiplayer server, you will get timed out if you are just standing there without doing anything. If you're standing in one place and you're not clicking anything and you're not moving any controls, excuse me, then you will get timed out. So, timed out meaning kicked from the server. So, one way to avoid that, and this used to work, it may not work anymore, I don't know, but it used to work. What people with PCs and stuff do is they will have an auto clicker, and you can do this with just a rubber band. If you have a controller, you should not use that. You could just have an auto clicker that sits there and does this every so often, and then it thinks, oh, I'm doing something. You can actually, use a rubber band or something for something. You can't do it with this kind of effect, but you know what I'm saying. But but what you can do, or at least what you used to be able to do, is put on a rail and sit in the rail. And now your position is changing. So you're actually doing something. You're changing position. Now, you're not physically doing it, but you are changing position. So the server thinks, oh, he's changing position. He's fine. Well, like I said, that used to work. I'm not sure 100% if that still works. I haven't played. I used to play on almost nothing but multiplayer servers. I've not played in a multiplayer server now in a while. So, a couple years. So, I don't know. But it's fun regardless. It's fun to sit there. And the other advantage can be is in certain situations, you might want to just have an aggro. I have water here, but you can create things that just relies on the mob aggro. And by moving back and forth, you get a sweeping view. They can see you sweeping back and forth better. But this one is not designed for that because it's designed to have close this hatch so that they don't see you. And the reason for that is, again, spider jockeys will shoot you if you're on the Minecraft cart. They can come up and if they see you, they will shoot at you and can potentially kill you, which I was testing with these golden apples. And yes, they will. They will indeed shoot you, which is how I had the golden apples to heal myself. So, anyway, I'm having some issues with lag on my stream monitor, so I am going to take a minute to reload that, if you don't mind. It looks like I'm still broadcasting. It shows that I'm still broadcasting, but I'm not hearing anything because I think my stream monitor locked up, so I'm going to reload it. Take a second to do that. And do that, and unmute it, which is going to be important. All right. Yeah, now I can hear myself. Okay, good. So yeah, that's how this works. That's roughly how it's designed. But all this redstone, some people are not going to understand some of the basics of redstone, how it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down. Oh, here's one other thing. You might not be able to see this because the lights are kind of dim. I'll come back down here. But this is the collection storage. There's, look at my monitor. I can see it. I don't know if after the fact on YouTube it's going to be too clear. So I'll come down here again with night vision. But actually I might as well put on night vision now because I have no reason not to. Nope, don't want to do that. Here. I could have just grabbed a potion, but this is the cooler way to do it. I don't know if any of you have, some of you may not have used commands before, but this, if you're in creative mode, you have cheats turned on. This is, you can turn on commands, which is one of the powerful things about Minecraft. Vision. And @s means give it to myself. The effect give to myself is night vision, and how many seconds? I'll just do lots of seconds because I can. Okay, so now I have almost indefinite night vision. So yeah, this is what it looks like. There are hopper minecarts underneath the last row. If I step forward, you'll see this is actually the last row of. This is the stair, and this is the magma blocks next to it, and then beyond that is the last row of magma blocks that go below the water. And hopper minecarts can take items from all the way through a full block, whereas hoppers by themselves can only take it through a half block. Now, there is currently a bug with hopper minecarts near spawn. It does not seem to affect flat worlds, which is what this creative world is in, but if you create a If you have a world that you've converted, or it looks like even a new world, hopper minecarts will lock you up pretty bad if you try to go into them. So that I have the number of that. If you're running into the problem, let me switch over that real fast. If you go into, I do not have that loaded up. Let me load that up. Here it is. It is, if you go to bugs.mojang.com, then you can search for your bug just by text. This one is called minecart with chest/hopper doesn't open and breaks all of their inventories, which sounds bad because it is. But the number, if you know the number, you can search by number, or you can just go to a direct link. The number is MCPE. That stands for Minecraft Pocket Edition. Remember, this code base was based on the original Pocket Edition. -148531. And I'll try to remember to put that in the YouTube description. 148531. MCPE-148531. That is the bug that affects hopper minecarts. And right now, what's happening is, if you try to open a hopper minecart or a chest, minecart chest as well, a minecart with an inventory basically, it will not show you the contents, and it will lock up all of your inventory after that. So you can't even open up your regular inventory or open up a chest or whatever. So that's kind of a bad bug. But they know about it. They really replicate it. That's an important thing. So there's another bug I'll give you the number for briefly that involves lag. Huge lag problems people are having. They can't even get into their world. So if you're having that problem, that is MCPE-149214. That's 149214. If you go to that page, it's bugs.mojang.com/browse/MCPE-149214. You have an option on the side to vote for an issue or watch an issue, or add comments. And I think to do those, you have to have an account with the Mojang bug tracker. Jira, I think is his name. Anyway, it's easy to set up an account. You can be completely anonymous if you want, but you do have to give them like an email address or something, I think. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've had to do that. But then you can upvote. If you are also having trouble, you can vote for the issue, which will tell people, oh, this is the number of people that have reported they're having trouble. If you have more information, you can add a comment. And then you can also click the watching button. And it's on the right side of the page. And that will allow them to... sorry, what was I going to say? I'm trying to open my other window now. That will inform them that you are... that will allow them to give you updates, is what I'm trying to say. You will then get updates to anything that any changes on that bug. You will get to see those updates, and they'll email you a notification of those updates. And will that work now? Yes, that works now. Okay. Trying to talk and fiddle with my tablet at the same time. It's kind of hard to do. I've gotten better over the months, though. So anyway, please do that. Again, bugs.mojang.com, bugs.mojang.com, to report any bugs in the game. But yes, the things fall down. They go in the hopper minecarts, pull them down from the edge of the water. They go through the regular hoppers because you cannot change the direction of a hopper minecart. The hopper minecart just sits there. You have to pull things out of the hopper minecart with other hoppers, and then you can put a chest, point into a chest, and then you get all the drops. And the nice thing, oh yeah, that's right, I threw that in the test. You also, with this, because you will get the occasional spider jockey with skeletons, you may get some skeleton drops occasionally too. And because it is a player kill, you'll even get rare drops. So if the spider jockey you might actually get their bow, that kind of thing. So, and if you're holding the looting, you'll likely get more of them. So more bones, more etc. So anyway, So that's how this is used. Now let me, now that I still have the night vision on, which I will have on for another, 16,000 seconds. Let me go down and show off the redstone. And here are the key things. I'm going to show off the redstone for the various things. The lights, the rail, and the auto killer. And I'll do them in that order because that's the level of complexity of each one. So here is, I will turn off night vision briefly so you can see how dark it's meant to stay down here. So set this to 0. And you can see it is rather moody down here because you can get light leaks through some of these components, the redstone components, etc. And you want to avoid that. So that's why the light sources should be as far away as you can stand them. And I do recommend this also. If you do any redstone, give yourself access to it. Don't just bury it all in dirt or whatever. And some of this, you'll see this line of bedrock. That's because in the flat world, this is where the bedrock was at level 0, and I'm at level -1 because I had to go down lower. So I added a layer of dirt and stuff below here, so I can do that. Anyway, and what I use the old etho method of marking my redstone trails with stone bricks. I don't know. I just used to do that always, so I'm still doing it. But let's take an actual look at some of these details. This is the block, which is underneath the block that the rail switches on. Now the challenge is, I didn't show this, but I can real fast. How did I close that? I do not have powered rail all the way through here. If I had powered rail all the way through here, all I would have to do is flip the switch and no redstone would be required. It would power all 3 of these, kind of go back and forth great. But that makes the rail go back quickly in a way that I don't necessarily want, because if I hop out of the rail, I want to be able to stop it and not necessarily, even with the rail line on, if I hop out now, I can just stop it by pushing to the side, where I can get in here and, it won't interfere with me if I need to get in here for something. So until I walk away. So having the non-powered line there is helpful for moderating the speed. And you don't necessarily need to do that, but it can be handy. And so what my challenge is, I power this block with the switch, but I also want to power this block with that same switch. In order to do that, I have to run redstone along here, but you might think, well, that's pretty easy. You can just run redstone along here. But I have to keep in mind everything else that I'm doing, like the storage thing, for example. And also, the only way to power these blocks from below is with a redstone torch. But the redstone torch has power. So I need to have a way of turning off that redstone torch and then turning it back on. If you don't know, that can be done. Because if there is power going into the block that a redstone torch is on, the redstone torch is off. And this redstone torch, for example, this is not part of the rail line, but this redstone torch is powered. It powers this block, which then turns off that redstone torch. So this is what's called a torch tower. I've had some people ask me to help explain some of the basics of redstone, so that's why I'm doing it in this video, because I'm not doing my Let's Play. I have other things, I have time. So anyway, so that means this block will not be powered until this redstone torch goes off. And how do you turn this redstone torch off? By running power into it. Power will run into this block, turn off that redstone torch, which will turn power off of this block, which will allow that redstone torch to come back on, therefore powering that block, which in this case, it's the piston thing, I'll show this off, will allow the piston to go off. So we have a similar thing over here. I'll show it from this side. This is the redstone line that comes out of the block. Now for the switch, I'm not powering anything, I'm pulling power from something. So on top of this redstone, this block is simply a piece of redstone dust. That's what this stuff is. That redstone dust will power this block when that switch is flipped. The switch powers that redstone, which is in a gap between this block and the switch, the block the switch is on. And so then that will power this block, and then this is a repeater, which can pull power out of a powered block. And so when that switch is turned on, that redstone will go on, the block will be powered, the repeater will then pull power out of that block and send it this way. And it sends it into that block. Why is it sending it into that block, you might ask, Roll Cage? Well, that's because, and there's, you might think, well, you don't really need the repeater there, but I do need the repeater there to avoid conflicts with this. If you know about redstone, you'll know that, oh, I don't necessarily need a repeater there, but it's a reliable way of doing it without interfering with the other redstone lines. So that powers this block, which guess what it has on it? That's right, a torch. A redstone torch is on here, and this is called a signal inverter. It inverts the signal from being off to being on, or being on to being off. That's what you can use a torch on a block to do. You power the block, the torch goes off, and then this ends up going off. If this is on, if this is on, it powers the block, that turns the torch off. Otherwise, the torch is powering this line, that turns it on. So this now goes into another repeater. These are called repeaters, if you don't know. They are these things here. They're made with redstone torches, which are made with redstone. That's how that works. That repeater then can power this block, and it can power it in a direct way, which you wouldn't necessarily get with just redstone. You put a redstone dust here, it's not going to realize it needs to go in this block necessarily, although around the corner it would work and all that stuff. But this is just the most reliable way of doing everything. If I put another redstone line up here, it won't interfere with that, etc. So the repeater powers that block, which, guess what's above that block? It is a redstone torch. If I come over here, I can show you. I put that in the way, so I can't crawl up there anymore. You see that block, that redstone torch is there. That is on top of the block the repeater points into, and that block that I've highlighted right now is the block that is next to the powered rail that I want to power. So right now, the rail is off because that torch is off. But when I flip the switch, which I will come over here and do, remember what this is at. This is here, this is off until you get to the torch, and this is on, and it powers that block, and that block has a torch on it, which is now off because its block is powered. But if I go up here, and turn this on, now that is powered, and it's powered automatically because the block next to it is powered. But this rail is also powered even though it's not connected, and that's because that redstone we showed. This block is now powered because that redstone torch is on, because the line going up to it is off. Kind of confusing, but that's how these signal inverters work. So now the redstone that's on top of that block is powered, which powers the block, which powers the repeater, which sends power into this block, which I don't need another repeater for that. That's kind of what I was saying before. You don't necessarily need repeaters for all this stuff. To pull it out, I would, because I wouldn't be able to put redstone. Anyway, too many details. So that is now powering this block, which turns off that redstone torch, which turns off the power of this block, which turns off this line, the power of this line, which turns off the power of that block. And so now if we come over here, you will see the redstone torch that's on top of that block is now on, which powers the block on top of it, which powers the rail. There you go. That's how that works. Oh, I somehow went into jump mode, or fly mode. Didn't mean to do that. So, hold on. Let me mute myself for a second. I need another fertilizer. I'm doing solid talking here. All right, so that's how that system works. Now let's look at the other two systems, which get progressively more complicated. Oh wait, I was going to show the lights first. Yes, this is the slightly more complicated than the lights. Let me show the lights. I completely forgot the order I was going to do these things in. And I think there's only one inverter for the lights, so it's a little bit simpler. The lights, on the other hand, again, this powers this block, and so we need a way of seeing that that block is powered. and that's because there's a gap below there with a redstone torch. Or no, I'm sorry, with redstone dust, not redstone torch. I think it's just called redstone, but everyone who uses it calls it redstone dust. Oh, it is called redstone dust, okay. Don't need to turn that off. So that switch is over here. Not over there, over here. Here. That is, if you remember, this is the block that has the one switch on it. This is the block that has, or this is the block that is next to the rail. This is the block next to it that has the switch above it. And there is dust on top of that. I might even be able to show you. Well, there is dust on top of that, and the dust is now on because the lights are on. And nobody's home. No, lights are on. So that sends signal down here. And this is just a simple redstone line. Why, this is what I should have started with. Very, very simple. This repeater is necessary because if you don't know, redstone signal degrades over a period of time. It's hard to see, but this is not lit up as much as that is lit up. Actually, you can see this is not lit up nearly as much as that. It degrades over time. If you go more than 15 blocks, the signal would stop. So this is a repeater that's literally functioning as a repeater. It repeats the signal. And I'll explain a little bit of why this looks the way it does. So that goes up here and goes up to the steps and now powers this block. And one option would be to power it with a repeater, but then I wouldn't be able to do this step thing. So you kind of have to judge where you're going to use lines and where you're going to use repeaters, because repeaters can't go up and down, etc. And now we have one inverter here. This is on, which turns this torch off, which if you saw the previous, what am I trying to say? The previous redstone tower, torch tower, that will let you propagate power up through a vertical space, a very narrow vertical space. So we come up here, that is powering, ignore those signs for a second, that is powering this block, that redstone torch. Because the power is on, that redstone torch is off. Because that redstone torch is off, this redstone torch is on, which powers this piece of redstone, which then goes up and branches off to all the lights. So that's why the lights are on, whether or not somebody's home. That's an old joke, if people don't get it. To say that somebody's not really paying attention, the lights are on, but nobody's home. Anyway, so that's, the lights are on now. And if I flip the switch and then follow that line again, you'll see magically the lights go off. And this is the most basic thing you can do with redstone, is turning lights on and off. The lights are off even though they look on because of that bug, and it looks like it's getting worse. Now the entire room looks lit up even though it's not lit up. Oh, that's right, I have night vision on. That's why it looks lit up. Never mind. That's my own bug. So, the night vision, you can't really tell. But, yes, it is dark in there, except for that bug, lighting bug in the back. Let's turn that back on. So now, the, oh, there's a skeleton jockey. I might get something. Wait, let me turn this. Oh, I gotta do this. I gotta see if I can get an arrow out of this guy. Maybe he'll even drop his armor. See, with this thing was up, and I was in survival mode, he would see me. But also notice, he was able to sneak through this killer, which is designed for a spider, which is wider. That's why it's designed that way. And he would not die unless I had the magma blocks there, which kill him more slowly. Turn that off. Because it's noisy. So now we come back down here, and because that light switch is on, or the light switch is now off, that means this line is off, because that's the switch is above, is attached to that block, which turns this off. And that goes along here, so now everything is off. And sometimes I'll use signal inverters just to make sure that in Minecraft's levers, and this is exactly opposite the way we do light switches in the US, but down means on and up means off. So I want to keep that convention, so could have been simpler a different way. But now this is off, which means that torch is on because the block it's on. Torches are automatically powered on unless you power the block you're sitting on, which turns off this torch because the block it's sitting on is now powered by the block below, which means this redstone does not get powered, which means none of these lights get power. So, simple, that's how that works. Simpler to explain than the rail, which is why I wanted to start with that. So anyway, we've seen the rail, we've seen the lights. Now the most complicated thing, as you might imagine, is this thing, which is involved in the Trident Killer. So let's see that in action. I can turn this off now, because I don't necessarily need the spiders making noise either. Now, I flip this on. This is the auto killer. This turns those pistons on and off. And it looks like I lost one of the... Actually, let me just kill these guys and pull those out of there. Okay. So, it is not an auto killer without the tridents. It's just an auto carpet pusher. This does nothing to help kill them. I'll show you how I put the tridents back on there. So now the pistons are open, which is what do you want by default. Or the pistons are closed. They're not open. The gap between them is open. Because if I'm sitting here killing, I don't want them to be auto-killed. You know, I don't necessarily need that. But when I turn it on, it doesn't do any good. You just turn it on and have the tridents sticking out in the middle, because remember what I said, if the trident is just sitting there, it doesn't do damage. In order to do damage, it has to actually be in motion. So we put it in motion. But merely open it wouldn't keep it in motion. It would only be in motion while it's open. So we need what's called a clock, a redstone clock, to cycle the power to those pistons on and off and on and off and on and off again. So that is what this little Mickey Mouse ears thing does. The signal initially comes out, the switch is there. Again, there's redstone dust on top of here. A repeater is used to pull it out so it doesn't interfere with the other line there. Then the redstone goes here and down because we need more room, and that is there to keep from interfering with that redstone line, etc. Then we bring it down here because we need a little bit more room for this machine here. And how this works, this is a redstone clock. It's a repeater clock, and this is a design by Silent Whisperer. Again, I'll mention him. He's a great, really good, unbelievably good and innovative redstone creator, colloquially known as a redstoner, for the Bedrock edition. Perhaps the best Bedrock edition redstoner. And this is a design he came up with that actually works in Java or Bedrock edition, and it's incredibly simple. Now, I will explain how this works. This is now off because it's powered. So it is like, has a built-in inverter. When this block is powered, that turns this torch off. Remember, the torch is, if the block the torch is sitting on is powered, the torch goes off. Otherwise, by default, it's on. So with this powered, it shuts this torch down, and shutting this torch down turns the entire thing off. So if we flip the switch now, you will see my stream. I had to reload, and it's muted, so I can't hear myself talk. If I turn this on, and the things start going, and I apologize for the noise, but I talk loud enough, you'll be able to hear me above the noise. So now, flipping that switch turns this line on, which, because of this inverter, turns this line off. And because this line is off, the signal is no longer, that signal is no longer stopping this torch from being on. So the torch goes on. But with the torch going on, it powers this block. This repeater then is pulling signal out of this block, which turns this block on, which then turns this piece of redstone on. Now, because the redstone is just sitting next to a block without anything else to re-divert it, it is actually powering, and this is something that you can do to power a block, that is going to power this block. Remember, we all started this with, yes, the red torch is on, that turns that on, that turns that on, that turns that on, that powers this block. Guess what happens when this block is powered? The torch goes off. So when the torch goes off, the power here goes off, the power here goes off, the power here goes off, which turns this torch on, etc., etc., etc. So it goes on and off and on and off and on and off over and over and over again. And it's a very, very simple, I call this Mickey Mouse ears version of a repeater clock. You can do all kinds that are, all on the ground or, whatever. But this is a very convenient, cool, smooth version. And the way this, you can adjust the timing of this with just this repeater. And if you need to adjust the timing farther, you can do that. You can extend this and do a chain of repeaters to go out and around to delay the signal, which I'm not going to get into. But right now, you can actually adjust with a repeater. If you right-click it or left trigger it, you can adjust the switch, and that adjusts the timing of the repeater. Notice it's very rapid now. This is on position 1. The repeater has the ability to not only repeat the signal, but delay the signal, which is why this whole thing works in the first place. If there was no delay, this would just burn out the torch because it would constantly be turned on and off. You need a little bit of a delay to allow it to blink like that. So that's one tick, as it's called. This is, if I got to get it in the right, you can't do it in the same frame that it's flickering, otherwise it doesn't work right. So that's 2 ticks, and that's still, if you listen, still pretty fast. 3 ticks, a bit more reasonable of a speed, and then 4 ticks, much slower of a speed. Now I find 3 ticks works very well for the Trident Killer, so I will put back on the 3 ticks. 2 ticks is a little fast and annoying. It works great, but it's a little annoying if you're standing there. 4 ticks is much less annoying, but less effective. I find 3 ticks is a good compromise. So now that that's going, how this works is that will, because it's flickering the power to this block, that will also flicker the power to this torch. Now let's turn this off again. And you can imagine, maybe you can't imagine, what will happen to that second torch if that block is not powered. Well, if this block is, if the block is powered, because remember we started this whole clock by unpowering this, that lets this thing power, which runs the whole cycle. So if we flip the switch, which turns this line on. Actually, this is the inverter. Remember, I wanted it to be in a certain position. I wanted the down position to be on because that's the way levers usually work in Minecraft. But the down is actually going to be off. I'm sorry, I wanted the up to be off. But what I needed then is I need that to be on to be off, and this is now down is off. Well, I need that to be on to be off to stop the cycle, so that's why this power is coming to this torch, which inverts the signal. And this is one of the most simple signal inverters. I think you saw that in the rail card as well. The redstone just goes up on top of the block that powers that block, which turns the torch off when the line is on. Right now, when the line is off, that torch is allowed to be on, which powers that block, which turns off this torch and the whole cycle. So, since this torch is connected to the same block as that torch, with that block powered on, this torch is powered off, which means these lines are off. And in this case, that's what we want, because we want the pistons to be not extended. If the power's on, the pistons will be extended. We want the power to be off to have the pistons not extended. But you may notice, wait, you've got torches here, and that torch is on, and this is what's going on here. Well, it's again, to save space, a simple torch tower. This powers off, which means this torch because there's no power going into the block that the torch is on. A redstone torch does not power the block it's on. That's important to know. It powers all the blocks around the block it's on, but it does not power the block it's on itself. So the power, there's no power going into that block. Nothing is powering that block, so the torch is on, which means this block is powered, which means the torch that it's on is off, which means the piston, which is attached to that block, since that's off, that block is off, which means the piston is retracted. You can see the little wood there. Now, you notice we're looking through a piece of tinted glass. That's because pistons are not full blocks. They let light through. So again, to prevent the light from getting through, I have to block this off. And blocking it off when I actually do this, I will probably not waste tinted glass doing this, because I'll just know that, oh, there's got to be a redstone torch there, so I'll just put, stone or something in front of that. But that block has to be there. Some non-light transferring block has to be there to keep light from leaking in. Because, again, if I turn off my night vision effect, you'll see, even though that torch is way over there, it's still kind of glowing over here. And this block seems to be lighter than that block. How is that possible when that block is closer to that torch? Well, that's because redstone torches themselves let off some light. And it's a much lower light level. I don't remember what it is. It's like 4 or something. It's not light enough to be able to interfere with like a mob spawning very close to it. But it does set off enough light that it could leak a little bit of light in, which again, with the new spawn mechanics, redstone torches would actually be able to turn things off. And not only the redstone torch, but the redstone itself also gives off some light. So, if, for example, if I go up here and I flip this on, you will see that this is lit up, and you can see it's flashing light because this redstone's on, and that redstone's on, and that redstone's on. It's set back and forth. So the different light flashes because the torch gives off some light. So anyway, let's turn this back off because it's annoying. So, and basically everything is exactly the same on the other side. With power going into it, this is off. Power is going into it when the switch is off because of the inverter. And if you follow this line along, again, this is just to extend the signal. This goes into this torch tower, which is not a direct torch tower because I have to branch over this other line, which goes to the light. So it powers this torch, which powers that redstone, which because the block is now not powered, this torch is powered, which sends power to that block, and that block has the second torch on it, so that the power into that block does not go on, and that block, as you see, is next to the piston. So that's the redstone for the entire thing, and how it all works, and some basics on how redstone works, and signal inverters, and clocks, repeater clocks, and that sort of thing. Very simple stuff. You want more information on redstone, again, if you want specific redstone projects that you want to learn how to build, Silent Whisperer is great for that. He does not always do such a good job with explaining the essentials, the fundamentals of how redstone works. Prowl does a little bit better job with that. I think he's also he was a truly Bedrock guy. So there's other people you can look up fundamentals of Bedrock redstone. You can also look on the wiki. They changed the URL recently. It's now like fandom or something. But if you just search for Minecraft Wiki, you'll find it. It used to be the official Minecraft Wiki, but Microsoft decided to not renew the contract with the people that organized it, so it's no longer, quote, official, but it's still the unofficial best source for information on everything Minecraft. And it's pretty good about explaining differences between the Java edition and the Bedrock edition. It still has kind of a slant towards the Java edition because the Java edition is older. Excuse me a second. I'm going to refill my soda. But with so many people playing the Bedrock edition, which is now, like I said, by far the more popular version because it supports all kinds of platforms, that slant is ever increasingly going away, so that they definitely have probably the last holdout is the tutorials for the Redstone. Excuse me, most of the Redstone tutorials are still Java based, but if you want to learn basics, it does show you all the basics and how they differ between Java and Bedrock. And that is one of the main differences between Java and Bedrock. There are things you can do in Java Redstone that are much easier than how you would have to do them in Bedrock. And some of that is because Java Bedrock actually, and I'm not saying this to... well, Java Bedrock is bugged. It behaves in a way that was not intended, and so when the people put together the Pocket version, which is where the Bedrock code is based, they decided, well, we're not going to use the buggy Java version because Java powers more things than was really meant to be, so we're going to use our own version. But unfortunately, so many other people are counting on that bug that in the Java version it became a feature, but the Bedrock version said, well, no, we're not going to promote a buggy version of Redstone that powers more things than it should because it's less intuitive, etc. You have to be a wizard to understand all the implications of the quirks of Java Redstone. Bedrock Redstone is a little bit easier to understand on the fundamental levels, but that means you cannot take advantage of those quirks in order to do some of the things that you do on the Java version. So there are differences, and everything I showed, most of this I think would work on the Java version. Some things, the way how crowded everything is may not work on the Java version, because on the Java version things get powered like diagonally. So powering this block would also power something over here. Like if I put a redstone lamp here, it would, well, here, if I put it here, it would get powered because that block is being powered. But if I put like a block here with a piece of redstone on it, it should not power the block directly from here, and yet on Java it does. So yeah, so there's that. Some differences. Keep that in mind if you're looking at the wiki. The basics, they tell you what's the differences, but if you're looking at some of the tutorials, you're better off going to a Bedrock Redstone expert like Silent Whisperer or Prowl, who does a really good job. So now, last thing to show you about this is the Trident Killers and how they can be a little finicky, and some of that's just by the nature. Some of that is because some versions of the Bedrock edition, there were bugs where it would delete the tridents, and so it can be a little finicky. So I would recommend that after an AFK session, you pick up the tridents and put them in a chest somewhere. I don't have a chest anywhere here for that because it's just a prototype, but I'm sure I would have, like I said, crafting table, maybe an anvil, and other supplies in here when I do build the real version. But how this is done is really simple. You just hold your trident, you try to aim towards the center of the block as much as possible, and you release it. And now that trident is there. And as long as you stay this far away, which I'm approximately in the center of this block, you can actually move a little bit closer. If you stay completely in the center, you'll be out of range. But notice the water keeps pushing me up onto here, which is another advantage of having this system with the stair and the water. The water will push you up here, so you're a good distance away. And again, you can stand here, throw this trident approximately in the middle of that carpet. And then before you actually start the thing, you might want to start the auto killer, which will let you know whether those tridents are actually in place. And yes, you will notice this one is facing that way, and this one is facing that way. And why is this? Well, if you think about it, they're both moving in the same direction, back and forth. It doesn't really matter which way I threw the thing, they're going to move in that direction. And it has to pick a direction, so it always picks one direction. In this case, it's towards the positive Z direction it's going to point to. So, depending on which way it's moving, if it's moving along the Z-axis or along the Y-axis. Actually, this would be along the Z-axis. This would be along the Y-axis. You know what I'm saying? Along the change of Z or change of Y or change of X. So yes, it's pointing in that direction on both of these. But rest assured, where the handle is doesn't really matter. It's where the actual killing portion is that matters. And as long as they're approximately in the center of that carpet, that carpet will be a killing item. So it doesn't matter if the handle is not sticking forward. So that's how you do that. And then if you want to do maintenance on this, if you're really careful, you can, well, not with it on, obviously, because I'll definitely pick them up if they're right next to me. But you stay right in the middle of this block, which is not easy to do with the water going, and I'm not in fly mode now. You can very gently and carefully go through them and not disturb them. But you know, you're probably, why would you have to do that? You have no reason to have to do that. You can just put them back in if you want to come here and, you know, do some kind of maintenance on the inside. So anyway, that's this design. That's how it all works. Can I squeeze through here without picking those up? And yes, I did. Cool. All right. So actually, that is all I wanted to show you here in this world. Actually, there's one other thing I can show you today, which is kind of interesting. As you know, I built my Adventures in Tryhardia world, as you may or may not know, I should say, in the previous version of Minecraft, 1.17, the version that was the current version until Monday, or Tuesday, 1.17, I built in 1.17.30. There was a 3.1 and a 4.1, 4 something after that, but 1.17.30, and the seed was Tryhardia. So the question becomes, if I had, and I built it with experimental terrain so that it would look much like the 1.18 terrain. The question then is, well, if I had built it in 1.18 directly, what would it look like? Where would I spawn in, and what would it look like? So actually, let's try that. Spoiler alert, I already tried this. But I'm going to start with a brand new one because it's more interesting that way. So this was Tryhardia Seed 1.18 generation. But without having looked around first, I'll just go ahead and create a new world. And now that I'm in 1.18, the world name will be, let's see, 1.18 try example, maybe something like that. All right, doesn't matter. And I'm going to go into creative mode for reasons you'll see shortly. Difficulty, sure, normal, whatever. Starting map, no bonus chest. And the seed is going to be Tryhardia. That was the seed that I used in my 1.17.30 world. Okay. And simulation distance doesn't really matter. What does matter is turning the multiplayer off, because why it defaults to multiplayer? You're creating a single player world. I don't know, and I hit the wrong button, so I have to do that all over again. Oh, this interface leaves a little bit to be desired sometimes. I'll just call it test because it's easier to type. And creative, yes. And difficulty, normal. Map, bonus chest, seed. Tryhardia, type this in again. Tryhardia. And none of that stuff matters. None of that stuff matters. Cheats are on, random tick. Okay, so now come over here, come here, come here. Say turn off multiplayer game. Usually I just change it to by invitation only because I might want to invite somebody, but in this case I'll just turn it off. And create it. So everybody who's wondering, was it a good idea for me to start 1.17.30, or should I have just waited for 1.18 and use the seed Tryhardia and get started? Because I had no idea what it was going to look like with seed Tryhardia 1.17 either. or 1.18. So this is not at all by design. But if I had started the world and used the seed Tryhardia on 1.18, what would I have been facing? Well, I can show you. Once the beautiful music stops, it is snow. It's a lot of snow. There are some trees, which is good. Wow, look at that. That is a beautiful ice spikes. Now, I had forgotten that there were a few trees where you spawn, to be honest. This is not the place where you spawn where I spawned in 1.17. I went to there and looked around. Where you spawn in 1.17 is over there. But fortunately, they do not spawn you on the ice. They spawn you over here. Oh, I forgot to say coordinates on. I spawned at approximately 64, something like that. I don't remember. I have to look it up. I wanted to look at this anyway. Where is it? Somewhere here there's show coordinates. Is it not it? Is it in the game? I thought it was here. I think it's under game. Show coordinates. That's what I wanted. Turn that on. Okay. So here you'll notice I start quite a bit away from 64. I start like minus 160, minus 150. And the reason is because there actually are some trees I can get access to. So I could have actually played this. Maybe this is what I'll do on Monday. I'm assuming the bug fix is not going to be out on Monday. I'll actually start here and try to play this. But if you look at the map, I will open the map now. As you can see, it's cold. It's cold here. But if we head over to, let's see, 180. No, that's 190. This way. No, that's going up. I got such a terrible sense. Okay, that's going down. That's going farther away from 0. So this way is closer to 0, and this way is closer. So this is the direction we want to head. And oh, guess what? That's where the ice spikes are. And so if we go closer and closer to where I spawned in the Bedrock, because I wanted to see, well, where's the place where I had spawned? And like I said, it's somewhere around positive 64, maybe it's negative 64, positive 64, I don't know. But anyway, somewhere right in the middle of this mess, which is off of the starter map. So I will jump into the other world. But you see, this is where we are in if I spawn in the same place. I had completely forgotten, but this is awesome. I will say this is awesome, but this would be a difficult place to actually start a game. But maybe Monday, because I'd forgotten that I actually don't start where I had started before. So this would actually be possibly doable. If I can get back to where the trees were. It might actually be doable to play this, but this is what could have happened had I waited. I would have spawned here, fairly close to trees. I don't know about any nice mountains or anything. If you've been following my series, you know that I started in a world with a lot of water everywhere. So I don't want to explore too much off of this area, though. That's why I was thinking the other way, because some of this will be what generates in my Tryhardia, and I want to have some mystery, because this is the 1.18 generation. This is off of the first map that I was on, so that's what will be out there when I do my Let's Play. So I don't want to necessarily spoil that. So I don't want to go too far in that direction. I want to stay within the area that I spawned in. So that is down here. Test World 1, Tryhardia C 1.8N. That's the one. I did use a couple of maps to try to get in the same place that I had spawned before. And I think that might be where I left off. I don't remember. I did not prepare terribly well for this stream. So, where am I? Is this about where I was? Oh no, I'm way far away. Yikes. Let me see where the other map was. This the map I wanted? I think maybe. Oh well, I'm gonna have to travel a ways. I thought I had okay, I'm coming. It is on this map. It's just in the wrong direction on this map. I think. Maybe it's not on this map. Is it on this map? No, that was the map I started in. Map east, map north. Oh, okay, this is where I started on this map. As it says here, old Tryhardia. And I started basically in this corner. And so this is what we would face had I spawned in the same place with the new generation. This is an impossible to survive starting place. I don't know, can you even get fish? Do fish even, I suppose they do. But you would need to get a block to be able to get out of the water. So once you jump into the water, you gotta make sure you come down here and get a block, which of course would not be easy. Well, you can't get it all on creative. But yeah, there's a whole lot of nothing here. You get some sand, you get some dirt maybe if you go down, come back up, go down, come back up. But I do have mobs spawning on, right? And of course I can't get out because I need to do something like that. The convenient block that I have is my map maker block. Okay, I'm back out. So this would be like nearly impossible I spawn here. But I had forgotten that, oh, that would be a source of food. I might be able to get if I was in survival, I could kill this bear with my bare hands, and he might drop a fish. That would be so difficult. Oh, here's some trees over here. So I guess maybe you could survive. Where am I? Still on the general? Yeah, I'm still generally in the same area. So, but you can see it looks absolutely nothing like what my Tryhardia map looks like. And so what I did then is I went to an early version. I'll exit this and go to that. I went to an early backup of the Tryhardia version, which has just not the entire area that I had examined before, that I've examined since, but it has a good deal of the starter map generated. And let's see, I heard it earlier. This is one thing. This is it. So it has a good deal of the starter map generated, but a lot of the fringes that I've explored since then have not been generated. So I got a chance to see the transitions where they would be, and it's kind of a spoiler in the Tryhardia episode. Although I know that I went out farther in the actual Tryhardia map than I show here because I did not go as far north on the map as I could have. I got confused where the map borders actually were. Oh, I'm in. Let's. I'll do it this way. Let's not be in survival mode, because I can't really show off what I want to show off in survival mode. So, go into creative. Okay. So here, I have my map here somewhere. Actually, let's do that. Somewhere here I have maps. Of course, and they're both unknown. I don't know which is which. Big map one, map one. Oh, okay. This is the starter map, and then this is the map outside the starter map, which I actually probably should not have made because I don't want to know everything outside the starter map. But so, for example, this starter map, I did go out even before I got my first. my backup is only like the second episode or something, but I had still already found like this village and stuff over here, though this is technically off of the starter map. But this is not on. This is not what it looks like on my actual Tryhardia. It is not this Winter Wonderland. This is just on this version, it's just, I had only explored far enough to see this base front of the hill, but when I explored further in Tryhardia to fill out the map, this is not what I faced. What I have is, I have a nice meadow here with bees and stuff. I'll show that off. And this I did not explore over here in the early game. I've explored it since. This is not frozen. And you're going to see a theme here. Everything's going to be frozen. Villages are in different places, etc. Everywhere outside of where I had explored during the early days, I had just made it here to this mine shaft. This was a backup that was on the, and there are other backups, but this is the backup I had on my realm, so this is one I grabbed. It was an early backup and not my first backup. You see, yeah, over there, this is not what it looks like now. Everything's frozen. If we go farther north on the map, let's try to get back in. So this is the terrain, just to show you what happens with the blending. They actually do a pretty good job of the blending. So for example here, you know, they blended this okay. There's a height difference. This is the new generation. This is the old generation. There's a height difference, but the old generation chunk ends, you know, probably right around here, and then when they generated the new chunks, it was supposed to be higher, so they just blended up to being higher. So, and most of the part, they did a good job. Like that, I showed you the forest. It's not supposed to be up on a hill like that, but it was on a hill, and so they gently slope it down to where the new generation says it should be. And, okay, I'm going the wrong way because I always go the wrong way because I have a terrible sense of direction. And let's see, I don't think I had, there's a village up here in the corner that I've seen since from a distance. I don't think it was in. So here's a good example here. This river, I had explored some of it, at least on this side of the river. But, oops, wrong direction. But you see there's quite an extreme slope here to try to bring it up to the level of, look at this. This is a nice flower forest, meadowy-like areas in the new terrain generation, which in my world will not be here because this area I had explored a little bit farther past. But you see, it's a nice high-level meadow combined with all this stuff, so you get some real jagged cliffs. And this river is frozen. Oh, this village does exist, but it's in this really cool valley, and I have this to look forward to because this is about as far as I've explored. I don't know how much of it is actually got loaded in, so some of this might actually be in my Tryhardia version where this village is in a massive valley because this is new terrain that generated around it. The village was down here, and you see they did a really good job, I think, of the blending. This is not something that they did in previous upgrades when they changed the terrain generation in previous major versions. They did not have blending. You would just have a stark wall of stone right here and a stark wall of stone down here. But now the new generation says, oh, this is supposed to be, the level is supposed to be up here, but the old generation level's here, so now we're gonna, you know, blend it up. And there's still some things that go a little awry, like, you know, this tree is in the old chunk, or this tree is in the new chunk, but the leaves did not get blended perfectly. So that's interesting. So anyway, it'll be interesting when I do Tryhardia again, when I start it back up to explore some of this terrain. That's it's going to be different. The borders are going to be interesting, and some of the terrain will be different. So I'm looking forward to that when I start up Tryhardia again after, like I said, the first, or as likely as not, second patch release, because I think the first patch release is just going to be fixing the absolute killing, game-killing bugs. I think the second patch release will actually fix the non-game breaking bugs, which are still very important bugs. Like, I can't open my Hopper minecart at my chicken farm, because if I do, I won't be able to open any of my other inventories until I exit the game. Kind of a bad bug, but you know, not. Oh, but there's villages. I explored in my new in my actual map. Let's see if I can run over there really quick. I explored a jungle area. I got jungle trees past this village, where on the initial, from the backup of the world that this is based on, I hadn't gotten that far. I'd only barely gotten to the village. I killed, to get my first iron, I remember I killed the iron golem that was in this village. But, where is the village? It's close to here, right? Yes, there it is. There's the village. And from the village, I saw that there was, just slightly off map, I saw that there was, not in later episodes, not in this episode, I saw that there was jungle over here. So I ventured off the map a little bit to get to the jungle. And if we venture off the map here, we see there is no jungle. So I do have the jungle in my Tryhardia series, but it's not jungle in the 1.18 generation. So it'll be interesting. But it is tall, so it'll be interesting to see how this blends. It was a tall hill jungle, so now it's a tall hill flower forest, or meadow maybe, or whatever it is now. So we'll see. I think it's a meadow. Flower forests have more of a variety of flowers. Anyway. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to the series starting back up. As I said, I'm not going to start it up, though, until I'm pretty sure that it's stable, because I care about the world, and I recommend the same thing for anyone else. If you have a world that you've been playing in a long time, and you want to upgrade it, I'm not telling you don't upgrade it and play it, but I am telling you back up your old version, because there is as much a chance as there isn't that you will want to roll back to an older version. You'll run into something. And I hate to see you spend a month playing in an old world that you really love, and then have to throw away that, either, if you didn't make a backup, have to throw it all away and start over, or if you did make a backup, have to throw away your first months of work in 1.18. So if you do play on an old 1.17 world after upgrading to 1.18, keep in mind you are now playing in a what is essentially a beta version. What would you call it? A gamma version. It's been released, but it's still not stable. So just be aware. Just be aware of that. And then you'll be fine, as long as you know what to expect. You won't have your expectations dashed. So that is going to do it for me, though, folks. Let me, by tradition, I will try to quickly go back to my house. If I can remember where it is on this map. There it is. And you don't get the ankle breaking sound when you drop like that in Creative. That's too bad. Anyway, so go over to my place where I normally sign off, and I will sign off. Thanks for watching this kind of, disorganized, but on hiatus from my usual series. So filler content of some exploration of 1.18. Explain some redstone stuff. I think next Monday, since I'm sure the patch will not be out then, I will maybe actually pick up the that world. I'll create it for real in a not in a creative world, in a survival world, or maybe I'll create it in a creative world, but just never go into creative. Put it with cheats on or something, but. Create it as a survival world with cheats on, so that I could play around with it if I wanted to later. Because I do not want to go into an experimental world and accidentally get achievements is the main thing. I want to earn the achievements. So that's probably what I'll do on Monday. I will go into 1.18 seed Tryhardia, and we'll see how long I can survive there with the bears and little food around. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see. But so I do plan on keeping the two Minecraft videos going during this hiatus, during this kind of rough period where the new version is first rolling out. I hope you all have fun with the 1.18 version. Please, again, remember, go to bugs.mojang.com, and if you have any bugs, look them up, and if they exist, vote for them. Add comments if you have anything constructive to say, or at least add your vote, because they do look to see the votes indicate how many people that they know the bug affects. So if you add your vote, it'll tell them, oh, I also experienced this, even if I have nothing else to say about it. And if you don't see your bug listed, then go ahead and feel free to create a new one at bugs.mojang.com. Please, please, please make sure you investigate, though, whether the bug already exists. Look up lots of different search terms to see if it exists, because it just gives them more work if you relog a bug. Also, again, I would recommend that you go to Silent Whisperer's YouTube page. If I remember, maybe I'll put a link in the description. I'm never going to remember any of this stuff, but if you go to his YouTube page, he does produce weekly Bug Rock of the Week reports where he talks about both the bugs that have been fixed and new bugs that he's discovered, the state of the bug report in the Bedrock version of the game. So go there, and he will probably have a list of new bugs that are in 1.18. He's got to be furiously collating. I've forwarded one to him. He's got to be collating the bugs now, and we'll be doing a Bug Rock of the Week episode pretty soon. But keep in mind, this is just a temporary thing. This happens with a very complicated game. People will complain, and I complain myself that maybe it should have been more solid before it was released. But those are the dynamics of game releases. Those are the dynamics that Mojang and Microsoft have with each other, in part because of the Java development team being the Mojang team, and they are like the creative directors. But the Bedrock team not working in the same language means it's more complicated for them to replicate the features that Java decides they're going to have put in the last minute, etc. So it's kind of a complicated mess, but it'll shake itself out. It'll be a few weeks probably, but it'll shake itself out, and then we'll have a really cool version to play of the game. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you enjoy playing the game. If you miss anything on these streams, you can check out the replays, including this stream. Will go up on a replay, even though it's disorganized. On my YouTube channel, you can find links to my YouTube channel and my Twitch profile. Also, you can type !YouTube in Twitch chat, whether I'm online or off, in order to get a direct link to my YouTube channel. Or you can simply search for me, Rollcase TV, on YouTube, and look for the same Race the Cat profile picture. If you are watching on YouTube and you want to watch the show live sometime, then please feel free. Oh, look, Silent Whisperer is actually streaming right now. I don't think I'm going to raid him, though. He's doing... he may be... yeah, maybe I will raid him. He is actually streaming now. I want to try to see what he's doing. I'm going to look at his description, because all I see is Minecraft. If he's doing like truly Bedrock stuff, then I don't want to bother him. But if he's doing like bug gathering or something, then I might raid him. But yeah, he's the guy to watch for bug reports. Look at his YouTube channel. If you are watching on YouTube and you want to catch the show live, as I was saying, links to my Twitch channel are in my YouTube profile on the About section, or you can just look in the description of every video I post. There'll be a link there. Or if you don't want to do any of those stuff, just come over to Twitch, search for Rollcase TV, and look for the same Racing Cat profile picture. And yeah, he is doing truly Bedrock stuff, so I will not send you over to him in a raid, but feel free to go visit him sometime, especially on his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is definitely a place to go for information on Bedrock version bugs. So that's going to do it for me today, folks. I hope you have a good afternoon, good evening, good whenever, until I see you again. And as always, wherever you're going on the road or in life, please be sure to enjoy the drive. All right, that's it for me today, folks. I'll see you. Bye-bye.